Sounds great.
Right.
And I'm going to still see you, Joe. Is that correct?
I think they're gone. I just see you now.
There he goes. Perfect. Hi, Josh. How are you?
I'm
It's
doing good,
Josh
Brian.
Harmon, just to be correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Josh Harmon. Excellent. And just for the record, go-to-market strategy leader.
Yep. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Make this a little bit bigger.
No, you're good.
No, I got to be able to read it. There we go. Okay. Let's do this. This is Hiring AI Agents and the Rise of Revenue Orchestration, a series from Outreach and GeekWire Studios exploring how AI agents are becoming full members of the revenue team and how AI-powered revenue orchestration is reshaping sales, marketing, partnerships, and finance. My name is Brian Westbrook with GeekWire Studios. Welcome to the show. I'd like to bring on my first guest, Josh Harmon. Josh is go-to-market strategy leader for Outreach. Let me start that at the, yep. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. On this episode, we are joined by go-to-market strategy leader for Resy. This is Josh Harmon. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Thanks for having me, Brian. Excited to be here.
We have an incredible conversation to get to, but I really want to start first with where did the agentic agents really just become first idea, first entrance into Resy's revenue motion, and where are they specifically?
Yeah. I mean, the honest answer surprises a lot of people. It started with coaching. So it wasn't the prospecting more, moving deals faster, things like that, I feel like we hear all the time now. But the reason we started the way that we did was we wanted something that our reps could grab onto and believe in, that we believed as a company would drive adoption over the long term and wouldn't just be a flash in the pan.
So when you say coaching, it feels like that's a good entry point, a good beachfront, if you will. But why there specifically?
Yeah, in my experience with sellers across the board, they're normally their own harshest critic and they're their worst cheerleader. They beat themselves up over like one bad call and completely miss the thing that they're actually really good at. So the joy of AI for coaching is it's objective, right?
Yeah.
That it's going to give them a true read on their own calls and it's able to do both the job of the critic and the cheerleader at the same time.
How are these agents, how are the human reps not only dividing up the workload now, but how are they receiving this? How is this being perceived and accepted by the agents?
Yeah, it really comes down to two things, and it's trust and value, and those both compound over time in my experience. So, from trusting, when people think of AI in coaching, they normally think of a call recording, and people
Yeah.
immediately go to it's Big Brother. You're just, listening to everything I'm doing, right? Everybody
Yeah.
starts freaking out. With us, we decided, hey, we want to position this as a value point. That our introduction of call recording, back in 2022 was to say, hey, we want to give you a coach in your pocket because my enablement team, like we can't be on every call with you, but an agentic model can, right? And as we've grown throughout the years, 4 years removed from really starting it, we're now at this point where they've built a trust in it because we've refined it over time with their feedback.
And how do they divide the workload between your, let's call them human agents and the non-human AI agents? How are they splitting that workload? Who gets what calls? Who gets what offers? Who gets what deals?
Yeah, so where we like to operate is we operate in the world of human in the loop, right? That we hire people because they're good at two things. They're good at being empathetic and intuitive. So I don't want to designate those activities that are so core to how we sell to an agent. But what I want to do is I want to take the tedious parts of the process and start shifting those over to, the activities that don't require being intuitive or empathetic. So for us, we began deploying those agents in their prospecting motion for helping them create account briefs and understanding that, hey, these are the things that you should know going into this. then doing a first pass in some cases as a personalization of, what are things that we can communicate to them about. Now, we work in pretty niche markets when it comes to, the faith sector and then government, education, things like that. So we like to be able to really personalize those narratives with a human touch. So it's not as much as delegating, but almost looking at the agents as assistants to really personalize and prepare. And then our reps can focus on executing and doing what they're good at.
When you talk about dividing that workload and you focus on the human in the loop, as you mentioned, are you finding that you have to adjust that either to the left or to the right to add more workload to the AI agents, or even to pull back and to give it more of that human
Yeah,
touch?
that's a great question. For us, and one of my principles, and my team's probably sick of me saying it, but it's that transparency builds trust, right?
Hmm.
The why we do what we do, if our AEs, our SDRs, whoever, if they're not able to understand the why, then the what is just this ambiguous thing. So what I'm constantly doing with them as we roll new things out is sourcing the organic feedback and looking to understand, hey, how is this working for you? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And I make the joke of, I really, I wear my heart on my sleeve here, but like, I don't really care how you feel about my agents. I want to know what my agents did for you, and if I need
Mm.
to adjust them, that's okay.
What are the callers saying? What are the customers saying? How are they responding?
Yeah, what's been really cool for us is seeing I'll use my SDRs for an example of prospecting for them in, our core market. When you look at House of Worship, typically when you have data enrichment providers, and I can go get, all of the people's information in the B2B SaaS world, that doesn't work with a lot of our core market because their information is just not out there.
Yeah.
Pastor Steve's probably not on LinkedIn. So what happens is they'd spend an hour or two going and prospecting, looking at a website, trying to find the information. And now what we're able to do is prepare for them a brief on the account, say, this is the account, these are the things that they're doing. And it's been able to reduce that time drastically. So they're excited that what we tell them they're going to be doing in the interview, which is calling, booking meetings, and doing those things, is what they're actually doing. And they're not just being, pigeonholed into a data analyst role for 2 hours a day.
That can certainly be frustrating. You want to use your expertise, and your expertise is making those connections, building those
Right.
solutions, building those sales. What tools are you using to really see results after you've combined the two teams between both the agentic model and the human model? How are you using AI revenue orchestration to see results?
Yeah, we centralized back in 2022. I think I said that earlier, on outreach. So
Mhm.
all of our execution model is done within outreach. So when it comes to agents and what we're using, we have research agents running in there. We then have agents that are taking action on, hey, here's the insight we got. Let's go put it over here in this sequence for this rep, and allowing them to have a single pane of glass view
Yeah.
on, where they're working in their day to day, but also then their coaching and that agent side comes from there, but then their execution comes from the same platform. I ironically say it because I'm in one now, but I strongly dislike the idea of swivel chairs. If I can eliminate the need for my rep to go system to system in a normal day, that's my goal.
Yeah, it is important having all of that available. You mentioned the single pane of glass. I think the ability to bring all that information together into one platform really makes the reps day easier, but also leads to better results. You're not flipping between alt tabbing between different systems. Josh, we've covered a lot of ground here, and before I let you go, I want to ask one more question. And this feels like kind of an obvious question, but really I want you to dig deep and think about what you would tell another GTM leader as they're trying to scale their team, maybe where to get started, maybe things you've learned, maybe really sort of what they should be focusing on in this journey. What would you tell another GTM leader who's scaling right now?
Yeah, ironically, I was talking to my boss this morning and he said this line, and this would be the number one piece of advice, but that, failing's okay.
Mm,
That as long as we're moving forward, that's great progress. So I have two toddlers and I like to use them in analogies quite a bit. But I'm thinking of when I'm bowling, when I put the guardrails up for my son, he can throw that bowling ball as hard as he wants within the safeguards that we have set, right? That he can also very gently roll it. And either way, whether he goes really fast or really slow, we've set safeguards. So my encouragement for other people is set your safeguards and then get after it, because it's okay to fail. And within safeguards, you're likely going to fail forward because you're either going to say, hey, this worked, let's do more of it, or this didn't work. Why didn't it work? And what can we do differently next time that it's going to? Also, source feedback. I think I never want to be in a place, to me, where I'm the smartest person in the room for every decision. That there's reps who are in the day-to-day processes that I'm not, right? I'm not on every call. I'm not making every cold call. So I want to talk to the people that are and be able to ask them, what would be the most meaningful change in your day? Right? That if I'm, sitting in a conference room and trying to plan what's best for them, then I've already missed the mark because they know what's best. And then I can compile that and figure out what's the most impactful.
So it sounds like have the transparency with your own teams, but also with your prospects, making sure that you bring all that together into the right tools and really trust that those guardrails are going to do their job. Josh, I want to say two things before. I am a fan of bumpers in bowling as well, so please keep those bumpers up there. I'll bowl right after your toddler. I think it improves my score. And two, I want to say you've given us a lot of really great insight, a lot of great information, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Josh Harmon, go-to-market strategy leader for Resy. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Brian.